Sayadaw, please explain about suffering. In your teachings, you mention sometimes Vedana, being mindful of Vedana, and then you say that we should detach from any good or bad suffering. Also, yesterday you were replying to a question about the sense of life and existence of life, the world. And you said that if you practice mindfulness with detachment and understand as ever changing impermanent nature, you will be free from suffering like this, suffering of questions. And when people come to ask you questions about their personal life, about problems in their work, about their health, about their maybe problems on their own mind, you ask them, how long have you been suffering like this? So you don't refer suffering specifically to suffering of physical body, of any disease. You refer to suffering as experience. Instead of saying, how long have you been experiencing like this? Or saying, if you practice correctly mindfulness with detachment, you will not experience like this. Instead, you say, you will not suffer like this. So please explain about how you use the concept of suffering.
I use the word suffering for both of physical and mental suffering. Body and mind are connected with each other. Whenever there is physical suffering, there will be mental suffering. So also, whenever there is mental suffering, there will be physical suffering. Because of knowing the connection of body and mind, or mind and matter, I use the word suffering for both of body and mind. Natural disasters are also concerned with suffering of the material or matter. Because of the greed, anger, and delusion of the human beings, a lot of natural resources were destroyed. In this way, the nature itself became unstable. In this way, natural disaster happened. Because of the natural disaster, living beings or human beings are also in trouble. Most of the Victims of natural disaster are the human beings who already destroyed the nature because of their greed, anger, and delusion. In the past, searching for the white, gold, jewel, all these are also destroying the nature, booming, ending, civil war, world war, all these are also destroying not only the living beings but also the nature. In this way, there are more and more natural disasters in the world. Because of not knowing the mistake or wrong action of living beings, some of the living beings are blaming on natural disaster. The nature itself is impermanent. Living beings are also impermanent. Besides, there are different suffering, not the same. Some of the suffering are easy to endure. Some are difficult to endure. Here in Florida, we can see the weather is nice because of nearby the ocean. There's also windy because of nearby ocean. But both of nice and bad weather are just suffering because of being the same selfless impermanent nature. Both of hot and cold are also just suffering.
Hot and cold.
If we like cool, we will think coolness as good. If we dislike coolness, we will think coolness as bad. If we like hotness, we will think hotness as good. If we dislike hotness, we will think hotness as bad. But all these are just suffering. With this right understanding, I use the word good and bad suffering. Because of the different power of suffering.
to the experience of people.
Please.
To hear. You can also, Sayadaw, refer in your explanation to the experience of others when they ask questions to you about their situations, and you ask them, how long have you been suffering like this? So just the same explanation, if you can refer to this example so that it is more clear.
Thầy cũng nói về cái sự khác biệt ở trong cái mà gọi là chăm họ đó, đúng rồi. Nhưng mà cô nói là khi con người đến đặt họ với ngài á, thì họ có cái sự đau khổ trong cuộc đời và ngài cũng sử dụng cái từ suffering đó. Thì như vậy thì nó có liên quan gì khi trả lời và hỏi họ rằng đó là mình đã trải nghiệm được cái sự đau khổ đó như thế nào và bao lâu như vậy, thì nó liên quan đến con người thì nó hiểu như thế nào. Đấy. Và cũng muốn ngài cho một ví dụ.
Death or dying is also suffering, but for those who want to die, they like they think that as good suffering. For those who don't want to die, they think that as bad suffering.
So I just would like to add a little bit to make more complete what was my last reminder question. For Sayadaw, it is obvious that life is just suffering. Before we understand, we take life as real and as something that can be enjoyable, good, and worthy. So as it might be that as it is obvious and evident that all experience is suffering, Sayadaw couldn't relate to my attempt to explain more about this, because for him it is obvious. But I wanted just to emphasize that every experience, whatever we may be describing as our work that we do, instead of asking the question from a questioner, Sayadaw sometimes clarifies, how many years have you been working like this? Instead of asking working, he may say, how many years have you been suffering like this? Because he already assumes and presupposes that working is suffering. How many years have you been experiencing this relationship with your children? That, for example, children are living apart from the parents, parents can't meet them regularly, or there are some situations that they experience together. Instead of saying, how many years have you been living apart from your children? Sayadaw would say, how many years have you been suffering with your children like this? So, as he explained, hot or cold, this is just suffering. Knowing hot or cold is just suffering. So it relates to every experience in life, that all is just suffering. So we should understand like this, to disenchant and to detach from all experience.